What's up, Exiles? Paycheck here. For today's video, we're going to be looking at the updated Cursebot build that I've been playing this league. This character has a massive damage bonus compared to the traditional Cursebot build that I've run in previous seasons. It's able to give over 120% of damage as extra chaos to your allies. It lowers enemy chaos res by 100% to multiply that damage that much further. Plus, of course, it's got the Wither stacks going to multiply it even further, as well as Temp Chains and Enfeeble for a big survivability boost for the whole party. So let's go ahead and start taking a look at how we gear this character out. The general concept of gearing out this character you want to follow is max out your resists and then mana, mana, mana. You want as much percent increased and flat mana as you can possibly get on all your gear. You want as much intelligence as you can get because every 1 point of intelligence equals 2 mana. And we also use Eldritch Battery on this character, which converts all of our energy shield into mana. So the more energy shield you have, the more mana you get. And that energy shield into mana trade is a 1-for-1 trade. So what I mean by that, as an example, my gloves here have 213 energy shield and they add 104 flat maximum mana for a total of 317. So that means that this is the equivalent of a pair of gloves that has 317 energy shield but adds 0 flat mana, or theoretically a pair of gloves that had 0 energy shield and gave me 317 flat mana, right? So it's a 1-for-1 trade. Beyond that, like I said, as much energy shield, mana, percent mana as you possibly can after maxing out your resists. There's a few noteworthy items on this character though that I'll talk about specifically, starting with the chest piece. So the chest piece, beyond just getting as much flat energy shield as you can possibly get, another main thing you're looking for is going to be damages taken from mana before life. We need as much of that as possible. The goal is to reach 100% damage taken from mana before life without using mind over matter, if possible. So this is probably where the majority of your cost is going to go on this build. I spent 50 divines on this chest piece, which was overpaying a bit, but I was impatient. At the time, this was the only chest piece with that much damage taken from mana before life and over 900 energy shield. You can probably get one for right around 800 energy shield for significantly cheaper. And if you're looking for a really budget option, then Cloak of Defiance Unique Chest works great. At a minimum, it's 50% damage taken from mana before life, which is more than my rare chest piece. Just has a lot less energy shield. But you can get Cloak of Defiance for literally pennies, and so you could probably get a really nicely corrupted one for a couple more pennies. So that's a good budget option if you guys can't find a decent rare chest. Outside of the chest piece though, we still use a Darkness Enthroned unique belt, the helmet version of this. The breakpoint that you're looking for on this is either 84% or 100 or more. So if you cannot afford a 100% increased effective socketed items belt or higher, then everything else does not matter up until 84%. 84% is the exact same thing as 99%. It's all the same up until 100%. So those are your breakpoints. Inside of the belt, we're putting in an Idol of Egron for enemies cursed take increased damage. That multiplies your carry's damage. And then we also throw in a Soul Core of Affliction just to lower the enemy chaos res that much more. We also added a Dream Fragments to this build for our ring. Since we only have 1 life on this build, we're very susceptible to being frozen. So adding this ring just makes it so that that permanent cannot be chilled or frozen mod just pretty much comes in clutch, makes mapping nice, smooth, and comfy, huge quality of life. Plus the mods on the ring are also great as well for the percent increased max mana and mana regen. So fits really well, and it's much better than relying on an anti-freeze charm. The last thing that I'll talk about for noteworthy items is going to be the scepter. We now use a Stoic Scepter as opposed to an Omen Scepter. This is for the Discipline aura that these grant. So in this case, 278 to total maximum energy shield. Like I said earlier, maximum energy shield equals mana, so it just boosts up our mana that much more. For the mods that you're looking for on this, you have to get a 59% or higher increased spirit roll. That is the threshold for this build. So you need at least 59% increased spirit. But beyond that, the only things you're looking for, allies deal increased damage and maximum mana. And then for everything else, it's just kind of carry dependent. You can get cast speed if you're supporting a caster, or attack speed if you're supporting a martial build, and then crit chance, crit damage are two other really great mods on there if your carry does crit damage at all. My scepter isn't even all that great, but it's worked totally fine, so that's what I'm rocking right now. But that pretty much does it for all the item changes compared to the traditional Cursebot. So now let's go ahead and take a look at the very few skills that this build uses. For our skill gems, this is pretty much it. There's not too much to this section. So we used to run a quad curse setup. I dropped a quad curse setup in favor of a triple curse setup for two main reasons. One, equipping a Dodri's Damning Ring instead of a rare lowered my mana significantly. So right now I'm at 7,800. If I remove this rare, I'm only at 7,000, which is a lot of damage for the carry, and more importantly in this case, a lot more survivability for me. So 800 mana is a lot of survivability for us. So went with a rare ring instead, dropped the Elemental Weakness Curse. Not a huge deal. You can just put Rakiata's Flow on your carry and not too terribly much is lost. And on top of that, the other reason is just the spirit cost that the fourth curse used to take from us. We would have to get spirit on generally both our chest piece and our amulet. Now that we don't need spirit on all those items and we can solve all of our spirit problems with just a single mod on a scepter, that frees up our items to get more energy shield, more mana, more intelligence, whatever the case may be. So a lot more mana overall. So now we just run the triple curse setup in Blasphemy. We have the Temp Chains, Despair, and Enfeeble linked to Heightened Curse and Ritualistic Curse for the bigger AoE. And then we have Withering Presence with Prolonged Duration and Chaos Mastery. And that's pretty much it for the skills that you actually need. I, for a long time, was literally running 0 buttons. As of late, since I'm running with a Spellcaster carry, I am using Living Bomb to generate some elemental infusions for that character. And I have that linked to Harmonic Remnants, Selfless Remnants, Overabundance, Prolonged Duration, and Rapid Casting. I also have Orb of Storms, but I haven't actually been using that. I was just testing some stuff. But Living Bomb for as an example, a Spark Blood Mage cast on crit type character, which is the carry that I'm currently running with, can add a pretty significant amount of damage with those infusions. So that's something to try out, but there's lots of different support skills that I won't quite get into, lots of different potential setups, so you can feel free, mix and match. None of it matters all that much for you, it's just kind of icing on top. This is the main stuff that you need. But that pretty much covers that, so let's go ahead and take a look at the passive tree now. Starting with our Ascendancy tree, there's no real changes from the previous iterations of the Cursebot. We still take Necromantic Conduit and Blackened Heart for the Unholy Might and mana scaling, and then Rupture the Soul for the Explode mod, and Incessant Cacophony for the additional curse. So no real changes there, but looking at our overall passive tree, things do look a little bit different than previous setups. So now that we use Eldritch Battery, we're converting all of our energy shield into mana, which means that we no longer gain any benefit from increased energy shield on the passive tree. So I've removed all the energy shield nodes, and I've been reallocating those into a bunch of different mana nodes throughout the tree. In particular, nodes that say damage taken from mana before life. So I take this cluster here, and the goal that I had was to reach 100% damage taken from mana before life without the use of Mind Over Matter. And that's because Mind Over Matter has the big downside of 50% less mana recovery rate, which is basically for this build like saying 50% less sustain in maps, right? You're less tanky in maps. And that's not what I wanted, because as I'm moving on this character, I have about 1,700 mana recovery per second. And if I were to take Mind Over Matter, obviously that gets cut in half, so just a lot less sustain. In order to reach that 100% mana before life threshold, though, it takes quite a bit of investment. So you need both of those clusters on the tree. I already covered the chest piece earlier that you need for a ton of mana before life. And then the only node that I don't take on the tree is this one right here, which you may need to either anoint that on your amulet, you might need to path to it manually, or you might need to get it allocated from a Megalomaniac Jewel. All options if you need it, because we do need, obviously, a lot of mana before life. So in addition to those on the passive tree already, there's also the jewels that we use. So I use 3 to 4 rare jewels that all have 4% damage taken from Mana Before Life. I currently am only using 3 of them, and then my 4th one I replaced with this unique, since this one only goes up to 3% damage from Mana Before Life. I didn't actually need that final 1%, so I was able to find a decent Heart of the Well that also gave me max ally res and still capped me out on the 100% threshold for Mana Before Life. But generally, that's going to be replaced with a rare. Other than that, for unique jewels, we use a From Nothing Bulwark version, so that lets us allocate all the nodes down here, Warlord Leader and its nearby nodes, for increased ally damage. And then just recently, I added in a Megalomaniac once again with Lingering Whispers. So Lingering Whispers is this Curse Magnitude node over here. I did notice that Lingering Whispers Megalomaniacs are a little bit more expensive this league than they were last league, so if that's too expensive for you, you don't really need that at all. You can just save all of those nodes that I use pathing over there and just put those into the Curse Magnitude nodes over here. I'm level 99 on this build, so if you're a little bit lower, then you may not even have the points to actually reach over here. In which case, not a big deal, because I literally have been playing without this the entire time up until yesterday. So not a huge deal, but it is a good addition if you can afford it. And that pretty much covers it for our overall skill tree here, and that covers it for the build. So hopefully this build works out as well for you guys as it has for me. I have enjoyed it as always, but that pretty much does it. So good luck out there, Exiles, and I will see you guys next time.